Hello friends, if you're ever trying to sell a car online, like on Craigslist or some other classified site, there's a lot of things that you need to watch out for. Like, for example, people who want to send you a fake check. But there's one scam that's a little bit more clever, and I'm seeing it more and more. And I think that you need to be aware of those buyers who are out there to ask you to buy a fake vehicle report from a fake site. So I had a friend that was selling his car online, and he gets a text message from an interested buyer who said, "Hi, still have the GMC Yukon SLT?" And my friend responds and he says, "Yes, I do. You are the first to reach out." And then the buyer says, "How long have you owned it for? What type of driving was done?" And my friend goes on to talk a little bit about the history of the car, and then the buyer gets right down to business. He plans a time to meet up, and then he asks my friend if he can provide the motor vehicle report. Which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with asking for a motor vehicle report. But the buyer insists that he buy the report from auditvinreports.com. By the way, his name is Trevor. And my friend isn't an idiot, so he says, "Sorry, Trevor, I only use the sources that I trust. AutoCheck is what I can provide. Anything else is on you." But then Trevor gets all upset and he says, "It's not my vehicle to be purchasing a report for. You are selling it, or else I would do as I always did whenever I post my vehicle for sale online. I didn't handle or negotiate, nor do I need to. Just need to see a report before I draft a friend with me and take a day off my work." Okay, why is Trevor so pissed? My friend is offering a vehicle report from autocheck.com, which is a very reputable site. Why in the world does he want him to buy a report from auditvinreports.com? I have no idea. But let's take a look at the site and see what we can find out. Okay, so we've got ourselves a website that looks fairly normal. I mean, it looks like it does the same thing that AutoCheck does. But what's so great about these reports? Why would anyone choose this site over AutoCheck or Carfax? Well, it's a good thing that they have an answer to that very question on their site. So I clicked on the tab that says "Why Choose Us?" and I read, "It's an exciting time for the industry involved in audit VIN reports. Whereas once it was just Carfax that performed such services, there are now dozens of companies offering similar or expanded features. Audit VIN Reports is proud to be part of the new face of the industry. Moreover, we believe this expansion is a great thing. It promotes new ideas, keeps prices down, and at the end of the day, you get your audit VIN report in your hands faster than ever. Who wouldn't want that?" Okay, there's literally nothing there that says why this is a better service than Carfax or AutoCheck. But put a pin in this, because that's when I got another text from another friend who was also selling his car, and he had a buyer wanting him to buy a report from getvehiclereports.com. And their way of texting was almost identical. "By the way, what's your name? I'm Wade. By the way, what's your name? I'm Trevor." They must have some kind of a script written. So I went to the site, and I noticed that the site navigation was exactly the same. I clicked on "Why Choose Us?" and I read, "It's an exciting time for the industry involved in audit VIN reports." It's the exact same text. The name of the site is just different. How many other sites like this are there? So I copied the paragraph and I dropped it into Google, and I get a whole search page of websites that are exactly the same, just under different names. GoVehicleReports.com, RunVehicleHistory.com, GetVehicleReports.com. The list goes on forever, and they're all the same. So there's got to be one guy or group of guys managing all of these sites. But why? And why are these people trying to get you to buy reports from them? And why did Trevor and Wade walk away from the cars that they wanted so bad just because my friends wouldn't buy them a report from these random sites? Well, funny enough, I get an email from someone who follows this channel who says that he got a text from someone wanting to buy his car, and he said that the buyer wanted him to buy a report from nationalvehiclesinfo.com. Why are there so many of these freaking sites selling auto reports? I want to answer that question, but first I want to answer the question on everybody's mind, which is, how did I get this clean shave? Well, the answer, of course, is Harry's, the sponsor of this video, who I will now briefly thank. I gotta tell you that before I found Harry's, I honestly hated shaving. I hated paying for lousy razors, I hated getting cuts on my face, but now thanks to Harry's, I love to shave. And Harry's just came out with their new blades, and they're sharper than ever, and they didn't even raise their price. And I really love the way their stuff is designed. It's simple, it's classy. I love the feel of the weighted handle, and I love the scent of the gel. I love the 5 cartridge razors, and they start at just $2 for a refill. Harry's guarantees a close, comfortable shave. I mean, look at this. My face is smoother than my baby's. And the deal that Harry's currently has going on their trial set is just amazing. You'll get everything that you need for a close, comfortable shave, and you'll be supporting the channel by signing up. So go redeem your trial set and get everything that you see here for just $3 when you go to harrys.com/pleasantgreen. They also have amazing gifting sets on their site for the men in your life. So get that Christmas shopping done early. You will get $5 off by following my link. It's great stuff. Thanks, Harry's. So back to the story. We've got yet another site trying to sell auto reports, and I thought I need to find out what makes these reports so special and why everyone is being asked to buy one. So I go to enter my VIN number, and instead of entering my real VIN number, I just enter ABCD.
No.
And guess what? They found my VIN number. Really? So this is when I thought I need to find out what's going on behind the scenes here. So I call up my computer buddy Ronnie to see if he could find anything suspicious in their code. Okay, Ronnie, you had a chance to look into this website. Tell us a little bit about what you were able to find.
Yes, I'll happily talk through that. And again, thanks for having me on so I can come and explain this. So one of the things that happens with DNS or domain name servers is that when people connect to the internet, you have to go to a website. So for example, you may go to google.com, facebook.com, and the way that works is your web server or your local computer rather will say, hey, I need to know what the IP address of this domain name is. So your computer will reach out, try and get the IP address of that, and then that response will come back to that singular IP address. So when you pass this over to me to go ahead and take a look, I did the actual backwards of that. And by doing the backwards of that, that's called passive DNS. And what passive DNS does is instead of asking the question of what does this domain resolve to, we can actually ask the question of what are the domains that have resolved back to this IP address. You gave me the first domain to go and look at, so I went ahead and I looked at that, and then that came back to resolved back to one IP address. Then from there, I asked that question of what other domains have resolved back to this IP address, and in doing so, that's where I got the over 100 different domain addresses that were related back to this back to the fraud that you were seeing.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
So you're telling me that on this single server that this website is on, there are 114 other websites masking as credit report services doing the exact same thing.
Yep, that's right. So it's something where the reason that scammers do this is because it helps them continue doing the fraud without having to completely go to another form of fraud. And that's very much what it was in this case. There was 114 other websites that the scammers created for doing this type of fraud. And it was all sitting on the exact same IP address.
So Ronnie's able to find 114 different domains on this single server. 114 websites that do the exact same thing. Why do you need 114 different brands to sell car reports? Well, I thought, how about I just ask them? So I strike up a chat with one of their customer service members, whose name is Brian Knowles. Why do I think that this picture really isn't him? I screen grab his face and I take it over to tineye.com. I do a reverse search and guess what? He stole the picture from a realtor named Ben Ward. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So I ask Brian how long it will take to get my report. And he says instantly after payment. Okay, so then I quiz him. I tell him that I saw a competitor site selling car reports that looked almost identical to his. I said, is this managed by you as well? And the link that I gave him was a redirect link that I created at grabify.link. I created this link instead of the regular link because whoever clicks on this one gets their IP address grabbed, telling me all kinds of interesting information, like where he's located, for example. And you guys can do this too. Whenever you meet someone suspicious online, just go to grabify.link. But sure enough, Brian clicks, giving me his information, and our friend is located in none other than... California. Or is he? Because the fool is using a VPN trying to hide his location. But he forgot to change his time zone, which is telling me that he's in... Well, this is a first. I say, where are you guys located? And he says, Wilmington, Delaware. Liar! So we know he's lying about who he is. We know he's lying about where he is. But what am I going to get if I buy a report from him? Well, to save you all $25, I went ahead and I bought a vehicle report, so you don't have to. and they only accept PayPal. So I felt pretty good knowing that they weren't going to scrape my credit card. And I also could be protected through PayPal if I didn't get what I was promised. So I went ahead and I actually used the VIN number of a random car so it wouldn't be tied back to me. And believe it or not, within a couple of minutes, the report was delivered.
You've got mail.
At least something was delivered. Let's take a closer look. So it does identify the make and the model, but nothing else is accurate. For example, this report was saying that the car was accident-free, but a report from AutoCheck shows that it had in fact been in an accident. It actually has a number of issues, but this report that I just bought says everything is squeaky clean. And I'm also concerned that there are significant parts of the report that are missing behind the page breaks. And they're banking on the fact that I won't take a closer look at it. So, what do we have on our hands here? Well, we've got ourselves a dozen or 100 different websites run by the same people, operating under different names, selling crappy car reports. And my guess is that these sites frequently get shut down or get hit with bad reviews, hurting their reputation, which is why they feel the need to set up a bajillion more of them to cover their bases. And we've also got a small army of these so-called buyers trying to make us think that they'll buy our car if we just purchase a $25 auto report. And then when the report comes in, they say, never mind, not interested. And then they ghost the buyer, walking away with our $25. And my guess is that you've got these guys over there in Pakistan with the brains and the skills to build these websites, which are essentially the same site with a different logo. Then they probably hire a bunch of scrappy young teenagers looking to make a few bucks. They then hire these kids to scour auto classifieds trying to sell these car reports and will offer them a commission for every sale. And if you have one kid doing this all day and he manages to sell an auto report every hour, that's $100 a day. And if you have 10 kids doing this, that's $1,000 a day. And if you have 100 kids doing this, that's $10,000 a day. It may only cost you 25 bucks, but it's got to be making someone over there a ton of money. And the number of people selling cars online is endless. This could be an entire auto empire. This is a big deal, and you should know that the FTC recently came out with a warning against these type of scams, telling you to steer clear of buyers who want you to buy reports from specific sites. There are trusted, reputable sites out there that you should stick with, like AutoCheck or Carfax. Don't go spending money in scary places. Or you can do whatever you want. I just don't have a lot of good to say about the report that I got. Well, I hope that you learned something. I sure did. If you want to know how more of these scams work, then I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel and ring that bell. We have a lot of fun uncovering these types of mysteries, so stick around and I'll catch you later.